Hello there. It is Christopher Madaras, your favorite Boulder, Colorado receding hairline luxury real estate broker with Liv Sotheby's International Realty. I don't know why I opened the video that way, but we are just going to roll with it, and that is because today, my friends, we are looking at what $1 million gets you in Boulder, Colorado in terms of single-family real estate. Not only are we going to be looking at the interior of these homes and the relevant metrics, but also we're going to go to the actual neighborhoods. I'm going to show you guys around, because when you buy a house, guys, you're not just buying four walls and a roof, you are also buying a location, a neighborhood, views, proximity to public amenities, so on and so forth. We are going to look at 5 different homes that are located in 5 distinct neighborhoods in all of Boulder to give you guys an idea of the different kinds of homes and neighborhoods you would get for $1 million.
It's like 95 degrees outside. There is no way I am wearing long pants and a dress shirt. We should all be grateful that I'm even wearing clothes right now. If you are moving to Boulder County in the next 2 months or next 2 years, my friends, send me an email. Let me help you out. I've got resources actually for people who are moving here, and either short-term or long-term. I've had actually a lot of calls already, like emails that have led to calls from a lot of you already who watch the channel, and I have to say it's been wonderful. You guys are awesome. I've actually had the total blast getting to know a lot of you and actually helping a lot of you move out here. It's been such a great process. Guys, actually the Sotheby's office here in Boulder were the primary brokers for everything luxury and standard. Literally like the most important financial transaction of your life, that you're also moving from out of state. Oh my goodness, it's a lot of work, so I'd love to make it easy for you guys. Look, don't settle for less. You deserve the best. Okay.
Jumping in with number 1, we've got 3355 Emerson Avenue in Boulder. This is listed and under contract for $1,045,000. And this home is located in the Table Mesa neighborhood of South Boulder. Pretty standard neighborhood. We'll talk more when we actually get out there. This is just shy of 2,000 square feet, $529 a square foot. Pretty standard 1-car attached garage. And you can see the interior is actually pretty nice. You know, the kitchen could use an upgrade. The countertops are veneer and the tile backsplash is a little dated, but otherwise the color scheme is very beautiful, very contemporary, light, kind of heather grays, neutral grays. Flooring looks fresh, vinyl plank. Mostly finished basement is nice too. And then you also have a slightly larger lot than average. Usually see around like 0.15 acres. This is 0.21, so you can see how you have a little bit bigger of a backyard. It's got a nice clearing. You also have subtle mountain views from the backyard, and this is a 1-story ranch. No HOA. Actually, Boulder in general, guys, has like almost no single family HOAs all throughout, so it's very rare we see those unless you're in like newer neighborhoods like Dakota Ridge up north. But this is a really good representation, I think, of just kind of what $1 million generally gets you in an average Boulder, Colorado neighborhood.
And we are here in that neighborhood. You can actually see the property just behind me here. You know, it's got a 1-car garage, which kind of stinks. I think that would be a drawback for a lot of people. You spend $1 million, you kind of really want to have like at least a 2-car garage. But that's kind of a common theme, spending $1 million in Boulder, is that the whole property is probably like okay across location and interior and all these different qualities, but then there's like one thing that you're like, you know, that really doesn't feel like $1 million. But otherwise, we are here in the center of Table Mesa, which is a neighborhood located in South Boulder. One of my favorite neighborhoods, basically my favorite region in all of Boulder, and you can see some wonderful features of this neighborhood. You actually have mountain views kind of all throughout South Boulder, kind of a mid-density neighborhood. It's very like communal. You see a lot of people walking around. You have Vila Lake in the Harlow Platts Park, just like a minute away. You could walk from here. You've got the Table Mesa Shopping Center. I think that the South Boulder lifestyle is a little more chill, a little more laid back than much of the rest of the city. And also there's like a focus on outdoors and lifestyle. It's that way all around Boulder, but really between the beautiful views you have in South Boulder, the trail access, you've got NCAR, which is one of my favorite trails. It's also got really great schools, known for like Fairview High School, Bear Creek Elementary. These are schools that like some people will buy in South Boulder just for the schools. A lot of families, fair bit of renters as well, but the renters are usually like older students or just Boulderites who happen to live here. Nothing super rambunctious like younger college students.
And moving on to our next property. Now, this is a good one. A little bit of rage bait here. I know some people are gonna be upset about this one. Although my San Francisco folks, you might feel right at home. This is 405 Pearl Street. We are here at $1,025,000. This is just shy of 1,600 square feet, 1,000 above grade, so it's got an unfinished 500 square foot basement, $651 a square foot, which is actually, to be honest, guys, pretty low for around the Pearl Street area. But let's take a look inside. So ceiling, pretty rough. The carpet, pretty rough. The door, I mean, everything's just dated, right? The kitchen too. I mean, this is something, if someone bought this, they'd probably come in and just renovate the entire thing. So that kind of explains why the dollar per square foot is really low. Around this Pearl Street area, we often see up to $1,000 a square foot. 1628 spruce. Really good example of that. A lot of people, myself included, even though I do real estate here, would kind of scoff at this, right? It's like, what the heck? Someone pay $1 million for what, you know, honestly kind of seems like little more than just like a dingy apartment or something, right? Like, in terms of space and how it feels.
You know, the big thing here, guys, is we are in the most prime location really in all the cities. So you can see the property is right there. That red fence is actually the kind of backyard. Here, you know, in downtown Pearl, you can see it's like pretty high density, right? But also super pretty. So you have trees, vegetation that goes back from when the city was first started, which gives it that kind of historic feel and historic charm to it that you just don't in general get a whole lot of out here because it's just a newer part of the country. Up that way, you've got Boulder Canyon. You also have Ebon-G. Fine Park and Boulder Creek. All of that within walking distance. It's probably like 10-minute walk to Ebon-G. Fine Park. Right now, we're walking towards Pearl Street, which we are just probably 5 minutes, not even, just like 3 blocks from downtown Pearl. You often see people just hanging out, walking their dogs, walking around. There's a lot of attached dwelling downtown as well that kind of increases the density. A lot of these homes are built in the late 1800s, early 1900s, back when the city was first originated. Look at the size of this tree. So like, this is something you'd see every day in New England, but out here, something like that is rare. Look at this cool mailbox art. That is so Boulder. Look at that cat. And on the other side, there's like, it's like so intricate. Look how cool that is. See that? Isn't that awesome? That's like super Boulder. You see like little small, just like hints of character all around the town. And now we're here, that's it, right? It's been like 2 minutes maybe of walking, and you can see you've got the actual Pearl Street Mall starts just a couple blocks down that way. And then here, you've got West End Wine, you've got Spruce Confections, always a big crowd here. We're on a Sunday morning here today, and people are lining out, literally, it's packed. You know, that's kind of a taste of what Boulder life looks like just in the morning.
Now, this has been on the market for 2 months, so obviously no one's jumping to buy it at $1,025,000, but honestly, it probably would have sold if it sold during like our rush season, during like March or April. It may be on the higher end of reasonable, but I don't honestly think that price is particularly unreasonable. I mean, it might sell for something like $1 million, maybe the high 900s. Next, we've got 740 Rockway Pl, 1,600 square feet, fully finished, 1-story ranch, 2-car attached garage here, and this is $999,000 and is currently under contract. So the big thing that sticks out here is that you have a full acre on this property, which almost you'd never find in Boulder City proper, and that is because, guys, this home is in far East Boulder, one of kind of my favorite places in Boulder. We'll talk more when we go out there, but let's just take a look at the home. Really nice exterior, actually. I love this brickwork. And then when we go inside, okay, a little more interesting. It's got the pink walls. I'm not gonna judge, but you know, I can repaint that. Pretty nice, it's clean. You know, it looks like probably a composite quartz countertop, so that's nice. It's not just a straight up veneer. Flooring looks great. You know, you could change things about it, of course, but it's a solid interior. Bathroom's nice. They've got like some special upgrades there. Interesting wallpaper. So, you know, it's small, it's 1,600 square feet, right? But it's nicely finished. And then of course you have this huge acre lot, which is mostly set in the back. So you have basically just this massive space of land in your backyard, which is kind of cool. A lot of things you can do with it.
This is the property right there, and the overall feel of Far East Boulder is kind of what you'd expect just from looking at a map. You can see just how much space there is and also how quiet it is, except for me talking. But you know, it's a place that for me, kind of in certain areas feels almost like New England a little bit, in the sense that it is very quiet, it is very peaceful, it does have all these old trees. For people who want to just be closer to Denver overall, maybe you go there a lot, East Boulder can be a great place, especially if you still want to be outside of urbanity, like you don't want to live in Louisville or Broomfield, something like that. You've also got Baseline Reservoir just headed west a little bit, so that's kind of a nice, convenient, little fun spot. To get an acre in the city or just bordering the city, you know, you're probably looking at a home that's pretty rough, or like $2-3 million as opposed to $1 million, right? And you can get a lot of acreage out here, actually. There are properties with 3, 5, even 10 acres. Far East Boulder is a great option for people who are really looking for that kind of more secluded, more private lifestyle. It's not uncommon for us to have like more high profile kind of celebrity, high business people will come to live out in Far East Boulder just because they want to get away. And I mean, just look at it. I mean, look at how peaceful it is out here.
So now we are at 1305 Linden Ave, a little bit bigger here, okay, 1870 square feet, $561 a square foot. So kind of back around that $550 to $600 a square foot price that we saw in Table Mesa. We are at $1,050,000 here. And this home, again, 1-car attached garage, 0.16 acre lot, pretty standard 2-story. It does have solar on it, which, you know, some people like, some people don't. I mean, solar is great in theory, but like often kind of the cost, the financials of it like don't really work out when you factor in replacing the solar panels, and if you have to redo the roof, that's a mess. Whole thing. Anyways, let's take a look inside. Pretty standard interior, right? Like, you know, someone might upgrade it. They might at least want to like change the countertops. Looks like probably veneer countertops on these, maybe a Corian. Flooring looks nice, maybe needs a refinishing. This upstairs space is actually really nice. The photography kind of doesn't do it justice here. It's a little hazy. But really nice, big open space. You've got your Hindu statue, very Boulder. Bathroom's nice, stone countertop there. Bedrooms. Got this office space. This definitely would need probably a repaint and new carpet. And then you got the backyard, which is probably one of the highlights, right? The backyard's great. I really like how they've landscaped it. And I also like how it kind of graduates up to this little kind of zen picnic area that they have, a little secluded away. I think it's nice, especially if you have like a bigger family. There's places where like people can go just to kind of get away. Again, I think a really good representation of just like an average Boulder, Colorado $1 million home, right? In an average neighborhood.
My friends, I have been out filming for longer than I thought I was going to, and I am getting hangry. Anyways, we are here in Melody Heights, and this neighborhood is, to me, a lot like, you know, Table Mesa, in the sense that it's kind of just like standard average North Boulder neighborhood, nothing like super iconic about it, but you know, it's still got that like basic nice Boulder charm. Homes here built mostly the 60s through the 80s, so a little bit newer of a neighborhood than what you find South Boulder. Of course, as you go north from Pearl Street, everything in general tends to get a little bit newer because everything originated around Pearl Street. This is a really nice location, even just here on this side of Melody Heights, because you've got Broadway, which is the main north-south artery of Boulder, just like, you know, 20 seconds that way. So this home specifically in this whole neighborhood has pretty nice access. And then you've got Wonderland Hills with Wonderland Lake Park, just a couple minutes that way across Broadway, which is a pretty cool park just to hang around, walk around. We are right now walking towards Melody Park, which is just a local neighborhood park here. Almost all neighborhoods in Boulder actually have their own like little community neighborhood park, which is like a really nice part of the city. Just a few minutes that way, going south across Broadway in Newlands, you have the North Boulder Park, which is my favorite park. It's basically just a giant rectangle tract of land, open space. They've got a playground, so a lot of families will hang out there with their kids. Newlands in general is like a really communal, kind of family-friendly neighborhood. Newlands, of course, is also more expensive. And again, you can see how nice it gets. You know, even though Colorado in general is kind of an arid place, what's so nice about Boulder is it is so green and so lush, especially in the summer and late spring, which, to be fair, that is really something you see less of in South Boulder and more in North and Central Boulder. That's like where a lot of that vegetation is. So South Boulder, I love South Boulder, but that's my one complaint. And you can see, depending on where you are, you do still get some mountain views up there. You can see just peeking out behind the trees. You know, that's of course kind of the trade-off. It's like you either get a lot of trees or you get the mountain views. So it's kind of funny. So not particularly impressive, right? It's like, you know, not exactly what you think of, not what I thought of when I was younger, of a $1 million home, right? $1 million house. But, you know, it's worth mentioning and remembering, guys, that when people pay $1 million to live in Boulder, they're not paying for a $1 million house, right? They're paying for a $1 million lifestyle. Views, trails, creeks like this, the natural beauty, wonderful weather, safety, good schools. It's just something worth keeping in mind because, like, yeah, the houses are kind of disappointing, right? But there is one house at the end that, you know, I think would satisfy people who want something a little bit bigger.
And then moving on, we have 2212 Edgewood Drive in Boulder for $975. This has just been on the market for a couple weeks now, and this is 0.22 acres, so a little bit bigger of a lot than usual, which is pretty nice. 1-car attached garage, 1,400 square feet, and $700 a square foot, right? So we're actually in central Boulder now. We're kind of on the north end of central Boulder, and the price reflects that, right? Just kind of as you get closer to Pearl Street, everything gets more expensive. That's kind of an anchor of value, so to speak. Let's take a look. We've got really nice brick work, actually. I quite like the brick on the outside. Another thing too here, guys, you can see these homes in the background. So this is just below, on Edgewood, we're just below Panorama Heights. And there's nothing like inherently wrong with that, but I have had some clients, the feedback for these homes that sit along Edgewood Drive, they've kind of felt like, it's kind of weird that like there's all these multi-million-dollar homes like looking down on me. That's like the feedback some people have gotten, which is fair, and I can understand that. That's really a personal thing. I think like some people don't care, some people do care. Inside, you've got this kitchen with a grill island, very nicely finished. Paint looks fresh, nice and light, airy. I love the light beige flooring, and then they have this kind of, looks like probably limestone wall on the inside. Very Colorado. Bathroom looks great. Whole interior all around looks great. Staging looks great. So again, backyard's nice. They do have some trees and shrubbery here blocking that view from the top homes coming down. So again, kind of just a way that people like to deal with this. Of course, in the wintertime, those lose their leaves and it becomes a little more visible. But overall, pretty nice house. Kind of a, you know, hit or miss location depending on who you are.
So you can probably just make out up there behind me those homes on Panorama Heights that are looking down on the property. And right here we're on Edgewood, of course, which is a little bit more trafficked of a road. And I think that this was actually the property I was going to exclude but wanted to shove in to make 5 into 6, because I think it's a really good example of what happens around that $1 million mark, where you look at that home, say just like the pictures, and you're like, oh wow, this looks pretty good. It's like 1-story ranch, really nicely finished outside, nice backyard, nice home. Then it's like, oh, but it has these other homes looking down on it in its backyard, so there's the privacy thing. And then you also have Edgewood, which is, you know, a more trafficked road. And so I think this is a really good example of, again, just sort of what happens when you pay $1 million. Is like, it doesn't quite get you that kind of everything's at least good that I think a lot of people would want from $1 million. You know, not to be negative, right? But it's like, I want to be real with you guys. I mean, that's what the channel's about. It's not about just like selling Boulder. It's about, you know, helping you guys understand the reality of what it's like to live here and what it means to spend a certain amount of money here. But otherwise, right now we're in High Meadows neighborhood, which is pretty nice. You know, High Meadows is not dissimilar to Melody Heights in that it feels kind of just like an average Boulder neighborhood. A lot of these homes built around, actually High Meadows is like the 50s, so a little bit older of a neighborhood, but also a lot of just 1-story ranches. You're also pretty close to the 29th Street Mall here, which is a nice little bonus.
And then lastly, we've got the star of the show, my friends, 4675 Quail Creek Lane in Boulder, Colorado. This is listed for $1,050,000. It's just been on the market 2 days, so it's just listed here. 3,400 square feet, and almost all of that is finished. So this is $308 a square foot, which is way lower than even kind of the low average area of around $550 that you get in Boulder. And almost a third of an acre lot, so really big lot size. You do have a $650 a year HOA, annual HOA. Typically there's HOAs that are just like a few $100 a year, we often see that they're not really like super strict about anything. It's more just kind of money that everyone pitches together to like have the roads cleared and plowed in the winter, or like some local park area green spaces. So pretty minimal HOAs insofar as they do exist. Take a look inside, guys. The first steps, you walk into this home, huge open great room. Flooring looks great, the paint looks great. Kitchen has stone countertops, big, pretty open kitchen, bay windows on the other side, and then this wonderful family room that has a brick-backed fireplace. Master bathroom looks great. Downstairs, almost fully finished. You've got a keg stand there as well. You can have obviously an alcoholic beverage. You can also have something like a cider, or like a non-alcoholic cider, or a kombucha, something like that. And then of course, your quite big 3rd-acre lot yard and a 2-car garage. So the question is, why?
Why does this $1 million home with a pretty good interior and a 3rd-acre lot have 3,400 square feet when every other one didn't? It is because, my friends, we are here in Gun Barrel. If you hear Boulder residents talk about Gun Barrel, it would sound like it's a separate town, and indeed it looks like that on the map, but actually most of Gun Barrel is within Boulder City proper. So this is a Boulder, Colorado mailing address, and Gun Barrel is a really interesting place because it really does feel like another town. Right? You're separated from the city. That's part of why, that is the answer why, you get so much more house for your money out here. It feels a lot more like a normal contemporary American suburb, and that's because a lot of Gun Barrel was built in the 70s through the 90s, so a bit newer, quite a bit newer than most of what you find in Boulder. And so you have pretty nice wide streets, manicured green grass lawns, lots of big 3,000, 4,000 square foot homes. And that's why a lot of people live in Gun Barrels, because it's really a place for people who want to be in Boulder. They want to be close to Boulder, as close as possible, but they want a big house. They want, you know, something that feels more like $1 million house. And Gun Barrel also is basically self-contained, right? It has its own shopping center, groceries, everything you'd need from a town Gun Barrel has. Pretty nice views of the mountains. They're more expansive, of course. They're not as up close as in Boulder. And we are just about 10, 15, and we are just about, and there's a little dog. That's a big dog. I'm trying to film. Oh my goodness, my camera is also zoomed in that whole time. That's okay. Anyways, what was I saying? It has its own amenities too. It has twin lakes, which are really nice, just like lake area where you can walk around, enjoy the water, enjoy the mountain views as well. Lots of cool little trails just hidden around Gun Barrel. And yeah, one of my closest friends actually lives up here. I love coming up here. It's super quiet too. I think a lot of people feel like Boulder's a really energetic place, and even though it's a positive energy, it is pretty high energy. And so here, the density is a little bit lower. It's a little bit more quiet, except for that dog. I want to give you guys, now that my camera's actually on a proper zoom, I'm going to give one last shot of the house, right? So you can just see the difference, you know, 2-story, really big, great, nice home. Of course, 2 stories kind of nice because you get that really big opening space as you walk into the home compared to like a bi-level or ranch. So in general, just because it's newer, you see a lot more 2 stories in Gun Barrel as well, if that's your thing. A few last important notes here, guys. First of all, thank you for watching. I love you. Second of all, guys, we're filming all this stuff. All my videos are on public streets, right? Public land, sidewalks, so on. You're welcome to drive around these neighborhoods and check them out. You could see those very homes that I've pointed out. But, you know, please remember, these are people's homes. Please be respectful if ever you want to drive around these neighborhoods. Obviously, these homes we looked at today are for sale, but like very soon they're going to be someone's new home. And so you just want to be respectful of that. And if you would like to become one of those residents that call this wonderful place home, send me an email. I'm serious, guys. It'll help you out. I've helped a bunch of people actually moving out of state. It's like super helpful to connect early, make the process easier when you get here, because man, is it stressful that month leading up to moving. So just give me a call. I'm either, you know, my schedule's pretty busy. You can either work with me or one of my partners at Sotheby's. And then lastly, leave a comment. Tell me if you liked the video. Would you guys like to see other stuff? Would you find other stuff helpful to know about? If you have questions, let me know. I'd love to make another video on it. I'm happy to make them. I'm here to help. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve you. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day.